Okay, so for our third video, we're going to talk a little bit about the royal we, going to talk a little bit about the aura and the auric field, work with that a little bit more in depth. And then also, because in video 2 we were talking about how you can go into the image and meditate much more deeply with the colour vibrations. I'm also going to talk about how to meditate on the particular questions that might come up within the book, or indeed, how to help you find your own questions. So I'm going to touch a little bit on the aura. As you can see here in the book, there is a whole section on the aura. I won't go into too much depth here, but we have the etheric body, the emotional body, the mental body and the spiritual body. There's a lot more that makes up the aura and the energy field, and way more than you and I could even ever begin to imagine. But for the purposes of the book, we've kept it fairly simple, because most healers or clairvoyants can actually perceive these particular parts of the auric field and the energy bodies, and we've given an idea here obviously of what each one relates to. So the etheric body is normally seen as like a white fuzzy glow around somebody, and it sits very, very close to the physical body, and that can actually help feed the physical body with energy. The emotional body sits a little bit further away, and again we've given a little idea here with the diagram and some colours. Don't take too much notice of this. This is just for guidance purposes only. Everybody's auric field expands and contracts and changes. So when you're working with somebody, it might not necessarily be that the emotional body is here. It might be that actually it's a lot further out, and then the mental body much further out again. But generally speaking, the physical body, that's this, and then the etheric body sits very closely, then the emotional body a little bit further out, mental body again, and then the spiritual body further still. So when I have worked with clients shamanically and worked with feather healing, for example, depending on where my feathers are going around the person, gives me a very good indication as to what part of the aura, what part of their energy field that I'm working in. So, and that can be quite good if you're then wishing to give any guidance or help to that person, verbally afterwards, rather than just doing the healing session. So, with regards to working with the book, as we explained earlier on, you can use certain colours. I'm just going to let me just go to rainbow, because that's a really lovely card. It's got all colours in it. So this would be a brilliant card image. This would be a brilliant image to work with for somebody perhaps at the end of a healing. So if you've worked and cleared out a lot of their aura and energy field, again through either breathing in and blowing and clearing, or if you're working with crystals or feathers, again this book can be very helpful if you have other healing modalities that you're working with, because if a particular colour vibration comes up, there may be a crystal that you work with that resonates with that colour vibration or with that particular chakra, and you can bring that into the healing as well. So this can be used as a great tool to guide you as to what other remedies, treatments, healings, tools, etc. For you to use. So another example might be if you're working with, let's say, colour essences, auric sprays, the archangels, something like that. Again, if you come up with, let's say, guiding lights, for example, this to me, and quite a lot of people, the blue, quite a lot of people relate to Archangel Michael. So you might look at the blue and go, oh, that reminds me of Archangel Michael, and you can then bring in the angelic energy that works with that colour vibration. The nature card in here is very HIJKLMNOP. The nature card is very green, so you might say that that's relates to Archangel Raphael, for argument's sake. So all of these little things you can work with, but as we're going back to the aura, the rainbow I think is an absolutely beautiful card to finish off a healing with, because it's got all the colours in there, and it's quite subtle, it's not too strong, and I think it's just lovely to have that rainbow energy vibration to finish off with within your energy field, within your aura. So again, similar to before, you can just breathe this colour in and blow it into your client, or you can have it obviously in your own auric field. And in fact, as we did with the book at the very beginning, you can just sit with it on your heart centre and just breathe that energy in, and just imagine yourself being surrounded by a rainbow if you're working on this for yourself. So just tell you a little bit more about how the aura is made up, just so that you can get a little bit more of an idea. So I've mentioned the etheric body, which feeds the physical. So the emotional body, generally where we hold our dreams and illusions, it's only a few inches away, as I mentioned. You might perceive it as a greeny colour. Personally, I very rarely perceive anything other than the fuzzy glow around somebody, the etheric body, but I intuitively have a knowing of where people's energy fields are sitting, and just very intuitively know whether they're clogged, dirty, whether there's parts of them that are in trauma, whether some of the aura is completely imbalanced, or so it's just going with your own intuition, but again allowing the book to help you. So if you land on, for example, like the nature card, which is very green, you may take that as guidance that this is actually relating more to the emotional body if you're working with somebody specifically within their aura. So again, this would be a good card for an aura cleanse. So you could potentially bring this through the aura with the intention that as it's going through the aura, that you're actually clearing any debris out of that energy field. So again, just different ways in which you can work with it. So very quickly to finish off with, I'm just going to read you a little bit about how to meditate to resolve issues, because sometimes just the act of meditating alone can help you to find solutions to problems. But if you find that there's a more persistent problem, there's a couple of practical steps that you can take. One is to define the problem, really get to the nitty-gritty of what is the problem rather than keeping it very loose, and then focus on the solution, which is obviously where the affirmations can come in. So I'm just going to read this little bit to you, add a few other little bits in here as well. So defining the problem. Have you ever been in a situation where a friend has come to you with a problem? You can see the solution straight away, but they can't see it at all. They've just got no clue. And that's because they're actually stuck in the problem. And when you're stuck in the problem, all you can see is the problem itself. You can't see the solution, because the solution is always outside of the problem. When you clearly define the problem, you create a boundary around it, making it easier to step outside of it. Poorly defined problems can often be too vague to tackle effectively. So for example, I never seem to have enough money. So, and when you use words like never or always, it seems to make the problem much bigger. By getting very specific, problems tend to shrink to a more manageable size. So for example, instead of saying, I never seem to have enough money, if you were to actually say something like, I need to deal with 2 unexpected bills this month, that then becomes much more manageable. So focus on the solution. Is the second kind of bit of guidance that we give when you've got an issue that you're meditating on. Once you're able to step outside of the problem by getting it clearly defined, you can start to tap into your inner resources to find the best solution. Try meditating on the questions provided in the book to help you gain clarity on specific issues, or indeed create your own questions. When you formulate a question though, make sure you are focusing on the outcome that you want and not the problem. It also helps to phrase the question so that it presupposes that the solution already exists. So, to give you an example, a very weak question would be, how can I solve this problem? Because you haven't really defined the problem in the first place, and it's a very generic, how can I solve something that you don't really know what it is that you're trying to solve. So a better question would actually be, what are the 3 fastest ways to achieve my desired outcome? That really gives you a focus. You're focusing on the solution because you know what your desired outcome is. You must already know that, otherwise you wouldn't realise there was a problem or an issue in the first place. So it's focusing on your desired outcome and then giving yourself a very specific number of ways perhaps in which to tackle that. So the 3 fastest ways to achieve my desired outcome, if you're then working with the book and you've got your pen and paper, as we would suggest, you will then write down 3 ways in which you can act upon after the meditation session that then ultimately give you your desired outcome. So then the problem has gone, you're not focusing on the problem, you're focusing on what it is that you want to achieve. So relax and breathe as you go within and ask your questions. And as I said, keep a pen and paper handy so that you can record any reactions, responses or insights. You'll find that some of the questions in the book are fairly direct, whilst others are a bit more vague and ambiguous. These questions give your mind permission to stretch out and get creative. So feel free to interpret the questions in any way you like, or as I say, indeed, create your own questions, providing that they are going in the right direction and that you are focusing on very much on the solution. Don't get hung up on searching for the right answer and being too analytical. Instead, you're essentially looking for ways to expand your possibilities, with creative thinking, and just illuminate new pathways for you. So just to finish off, I'm just going to have a quick intuitive flick, and let's just see what question we land on for you today. So, okay. So this is the image that we've come up with, and the message at the top is, work with us and our intense vibration of love, and love will be your soul or soul experience in any situation. So it'll be your only experience and your soul's experience. So soul and soul, just spelt 2 different ways there. So from a meditation perspective, there are 3 questions here. What fears are disempowering me? Now, you might say, well, hang on, that's focusing on the problem. Yes, I would agree. However, sometimes you might just need to think about, what is the issue? But the way the question continues, and what action will I take to transmute them into powerful resources? So then your mind goes to powerful resources and what actions that it is that you can take to transmute them. So you've got 3 very positive things there that you're focusing on, and ultimately you're going to end up, with powerful resources. So with powerful resources, you can't be disempowered anymore. So that just gives you an example of, how to kind of come up with a solution-based question as opposed to a issue or problem-based question. So hopefully that's helped. I'm going to leave you with the affirmation that's on here, seeing as this is the one that's come up. It is, even in situations of emotional tension, I can communicate effectively with others. And then we also have, I feel strong, safe and connected. Love is my protection. I am of love. I am in love. And I exude love. And obviously if you are of love, in love and exuding love, and that becomes your experience, then that is really the only thing that you can experience. And then any issues that you may have had up here just disappear. So I leave you with the love vibration of this particular card, which is actually number 25, adds up to 7, which is about magic, mystery and creation. Page number 73, which adds up to 10, which is 1, which is new beginnings. So go and enjoy your new beginnings of love.